Hey everybody, it's me, your illustrious host. Sorry for the change of venue here, but I am actually on a workshop retreat myself, taking some healing work on something called Vortex Healing, which has been rather incredible so far. It's day number 2, and tomorrow will be day number 3 of 7, so quite a bit of work. But I did want to make sure I get a video up here so we can move on with our challenge. So I just want to talk about a couple things that have come to my mind as I've been doing some processing myself this week. So I want to go over a couple refinements. So we learned how to do Ken-yoku. That's the dry bathing, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay. You can watch the video about that if you want to see how to do that more, or read the description. And then we, learned joshin kokuho. We learned a sort of a basic way to do joshin kokuho. And there's a couple variations on joshin kokuho, some of which we've already talked about. And I'm going to talk about another refinement here. And then we learned zetsun choichu, which I think I'm saying correctly. If not, sorry. It's spelled, you can see it there, which is part of hatsureiho. And when they stick those two things together, or three things together, you end up with a technique called hatsureiho. And you've been practicing hatsureiho now for a week. Well, one of the refinements that I wanted to add that isn't necessarily taught that way, although the directions, if you actually read them, are there. And that is where you do the ha breath. So you change up joshin kokuho just a little bit. So instead of just going energy into the hara, expand, and so forth, into the hara, expand. And that's the way we were taught to do joshin kokuho. Well, in the hatsureiho method, as I was taught by Doi Sensei, which is whose description that I posted in the book, in the file section there, we learn how to do with a ha sound. And the way you do it is like this. So, when you're doing hatsureiho, you would start off with your dry bathing. You start off by your focus, and then when you go to do the joshin kokuho part, you'd have your hands like this, in your lap. And the way Doi Sensei described that is like as if you're holding eggs. So, you're kind of pointing up. I personally find that position, at least when I'm sitting in a chair like I am now, to be very, very difficult. So I don't necessarily always do it that way, but it is worth trying to do it that way correctly. But the important thing is, instead of just breathing out, you actually make a mantra. Okay? So you would basically do joshin koku like this. So you'd be breathing in, then you make the sound ah. So you're actually making a mantra. So it'd be ah, ah. And it sounds a little weird, of course, if you're doing this in a crowded spot, but it's actually bringing in a different sort of energy as part of that thing, and it kind of empowering this a little bit more. So part of your assignment this week is to try that out and see if you like which one you like better. Maybe you like one over the other. Try them both. And just kind of refine that. And also keep in mind, the important thing with these practices is that they have a lot to teach you. And you only gain that awareness by doing the practices, really, honestly. So, there's a lot to pay attention to your breath, a lot to learn. And as you get more and more in touch with your hara, you'll become more and more clear about what's going on. The more grounded you are, the more centered you are, et cetera, et cetera. That's all very good. So definitely want to make sure you do that. And so this week, of course, you're going to continue doing Michael's Sword on whatever day you've been doing it on. This will be going on your 3rd week, I think. So that's awesome. So you'll now be doing all 3 levels of the cleansing at the same time. So this will be a really big, I'm going to say it that way, it's going to be a really big butt kicker week for you. So it'll be a very great opportunity. So if it hasn't really kicked into gear for you yet, you'll be seeing that here. And we're going to add a practice here. And the thing is that you can either do this in addition to the hatsureiho, or, maybe you want to try doing this practice instead of hatsureiho as well. So you can kind of use your own judgment there. It depends on how much time you have. If you have enough time, I would do this practice in addition to hatsureiho and all that stuff. Or you could even do just joshin kokuho and then add this, because that's the thing about practice. You got to find out what kind of stuff you like. I mean, these are all doing something slightly different. So in this particular technique, we're going to start doing some hands-on healing. yay, Reiki, hands-on healing. But no, seriously, though, it's a little bit different. So the first technique I want to teach here that's new is a technique known as Reiji. And Reiji is about surrender in the simplest terms. It's about allowing yourself to be surrendered to the moment and to let Reiki flow through you and guide your actions. Okay? And for a lot of people, that's very hard to do because we're taught that we need to do things and touch things and direct things. And this is really a technique of sort of letting all of that go and just allowing the Reiki to just happen in what you're doing. So there's a lot of different ways that you can sort of do this technique. I'm going to teach you one way that I like, and there are others. So if you just type in Reiji in the Google, you could probably find a bunch of different ways. But so what you're going to do is when you do Reiji is like most Japanese techniques, it starts with an intent, I want to do Reiji. Okay, so what I do is I bring my hands in Gasho and I think to myself, I want to do Reiji. I want to surrender. The thing with this technique is that you're really not doing anything because the definition is surrender is to not do anything. But we need steps and we need a step. So what you do is I just basically kind of sit there and I set my intent to just basically let go, basically. And then what I do is you bring your hands up to above your forehead. You can either set them on top of your head here or you can hold them above your head. And then basically just sort of connect to Reiki energy or the intelligence behind Reiki, or just allow yourself to surrender and then just let that go and just allow Reiki to then guide your hands and be open to that. And then you can do one of two things here. Okay, you can either then just kind of get a sense of where you might want to place your hands and do hands-on healing, which is a great way to do it. And just, maybe you need to place your hands over here, maybe over here, doesn't really matter. But what I recommend you do this time around is Gasho, connect, and then I recommend that you come down and bring your right hand over to your left side and your left hand over to your left side and just basically sort of rest this right underneath your ribs as a position on one side, and then just start there. And don't have any judgments or any thoughts. Just allow your mind to be there and allow Reiki to be your mind and your mind to be Reiki, and just allow that to be what it is. And what you're going to feel is you're going to feel stuff and know stuff because you're not going to be judging it. You're just allowing your body and Reiki to speak through you through that. And then you're going to heal that, and you stay there until you're done. Maybe that's 5 minutes, maybe that's 10 minutes, Then I recommend move to the other side. Same thing. Left hand maybe on top. Doesn't really matter which way you do it. It just happens to be the way I do it. Left hand on top. So my hands are like this, okay? But a little bit open, and then they're just right there. So this is on my, left side, on my right side, excuse me, which is going to be, liver, gallbladder, lower intestines, that kind of thing. This is actually almost in level with the hara, except for it's off to the side. And we're going to talk more about what these positions might do later, but right now, that's not what we're talking about. I have another module for next week that I will talk about, and we have a lot more stuff to talk about, but I didn't have time to really do that here. So anyway, you're just going to basically leave your hands there. And, and if you want to then follow that up and do maybe this position, it's a great position. You could even do, this position. You have a lot of different positions you can do, but if you just sort of focus on these first two for now, those are just really great positions because you've been doing Michael Sword, so you've been doing some head positions already, hands-on healing. But these positions are significant because they're hitting some major acupressure points and some major organs. I mean, you've got pancreas on one side, and you've also got your spleen, and then on the other side you've got your liver, and gallbladder, and both of those organs, are related to certain things, which we'll talk about more in another video. So, in summary of this video, before I do my Reiju, this is actually going to be a very quick video. Add the Ha breath for Hatsa Reiho and try that out. You can do some hands-on healing with some Reiji components, surrender there. And you can mix and match however you want to do it, but just make sure you spend enough time. The real important thing here is you want to be doing some Joshin Gokyo. Whether you do the concentration with Hatsureho or not, it's open for debate. You could even, if you really wanted to start off with this, with the Reiji, and then go into joshin kokuho, and like sort of kind of like do this before you maybe do Hatsureho. You could do that too. There's a lot of different ways you can mix and match this. This is all Reiki 1 practices too here that we're doing here. Okay, well, Hatsureho is technically a Reiki 2 practice, but you have all the pieces at Reiki 1, so I've never really saw much reason for separating it out to Reiki 2, but ideally you would learn Hatsureho in a Reiki 2 class after you've been practicing joshin kokuho for a long time. But yeah, so if any questions, obviously, comment below, forum, whatever. This, in case you just stumbled here in the middle of this video, is like part 3 of a challenge. And you can watch the other videos in the series because I have them thing. So we're going to do a little Reiju, and I'm going to do something a little bit different with this Reiju. It won't look different to you on the screen, but some other things are going to happen behind the scenes, okay? So, all right, so what I'm going to do is I want everyone to take a minute, and I want everyone to close their eyes and breathe into your heart. All right, everybody. Alrighty. Everyone, please come back. Hopefully you weren't watching that while you were driving. All right. That was particularly fun. Hope you enjoy that. Let me know what you think about this attunement. It's a little bit different than what my attunement, but this Reiju is a little bit different than the other ones we've been doing. So, and I was doing a couple different things. So, there, two different things specifically. So anyway, let me know what you think about it. Comment, like, share, that kind of thing. See you in the forums. Thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate all the effort you guys put into it, and ladies too, of course. Anyway, thanks. Bye bye.